The critics were not fair. The critics were still remembering the days when it began, when we had people that weren't experienced, shall we say, in television, and it was all live. I mean, now you don't get anything live, do you? Only the news, and even that, it's half of it already filmed. So, really, it was very unfair, but I suppose, the newspapers just kept to that story.
Yeah, I
Do you think it was fair?
Well, it was way before my time, but when sets supposed to used to shake and all that, but
I know,
if it did, it was in the very early days. I never
Yes,
saw
not when
anything
we
like
were in. It was just like any other television, only that you had to do 4 episodes
But
in 1 week.
all you could do was go by the ratings, couldn't you?
Yes.
And it was always in the top 10 or 4 episodes.
That's right.
Every week for many, many years.
Yes. Never had so much fan mail as when I was in that.
The audience liked
wonderful.
it. That was the main thing.
Yes.
So
well, this is what you do television for, to please the audience,
What was
isn't
that
it?
lovely story that Roger Tongue used to say? He said he used to feel like a statue in Piccadilly Circus. And the critics were the birds flying around.
Yes, they were very
what
unfair.
happens to the statue? Covered in it.
Yes. My money this week.
Yep.
Did you like doing, because you did both, did you like doing it as a story?
Oh, as a story. I
Or
didn't like
doing
rehearse
the-
record.
Rehearse record?
No, I never liked rehearse record.
Yes.
I love the story.
It was terrifying,
Yes,
the story, because I can remember sitting there with the clock going round.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And I always remember dear Sue, dear Diane. One scene I was sitting with her and the clock ticks and she says, oh, that's me, shot off. And she did the scene, she came back and she'd got 2 bits with a hair clip. Oh, yes, yes. I'm like, oh, it must be something about this hair clip, it must be part of the scene. And she came back and sat down and I said, when did you do this bit about hair clip? Because we were in the studio, we couldn't talk. When did you do it? And she went, what? Oh, my God.
She's done it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my favourite with Sue was when we were sitting having a meal and we were shooting a scene, and Sue and I used to get the laugh sometimes, and when Sue started, that was it.
Yes. Yeah.
I used to be able to control it, Sue couldn't.
Oh, really?
And we started eating a meal and we kept stopping, and that's when we did a bit of editing. And we had started off and we both had a chicken dinner. And we went through the first part of the scene and then she started laughing, so we changed, so they brought another 2 plates, chicken dinners. And we went on, we had 3 chicken dinners. So we ended up starting picking up halfway through the scene, so half the dinner was done. The 4th time we went down, they brought a beef steak, because they'd run out of chicken. So half the scene we were eating chicken and the rest of it was eating a beef steak.
But that's what's fondly remembered about Crossroads. A lot of the younger viewers. I mean, I used to see myself walk into the office in a blue suit and actually open the door and come in a grey suit.
Yeah. But that was in editing.
Yes.
That's where things went wrong. But in the really early days, that was hysterical when you did. I can remember once a scene with Nolly, where she had to put these things in the safe. She put them in the safe and she shut the door. And as she was going to walk away, she realised that the safe that she'd very carefully locked and done all the combinations was just going to swing open again. So she stood there, holding it. And I came in, and I'm supposed to have the scene on the sofa with her, and she's standing behind me, sort of over there. I said, why is Nolly not coming down here? What's going on? So I got up and went to her, and we stood there with her holding the safe.
And do you remember that time when she was asked to do a quick spread at the top of a scene? And she came into the living room, and we were all watching, and she said, now, where have I left my glasses? And she started to lift up the cushions.
Oh, that was
and we all got our scripts stuffed under the cushions. Because the minute we stopped,
Yes.
and there was the yellow and the blue and the green,
pink and the
and the
green.
pink.
All these episodes, yes, that's
All
right.
on different coloured
all
paper.
colour-coded.
So one colour-coded
So
episodes.
you knew which episode you were in at the time.
Yeah.
God, it was a nightmare, but I
I
wouldn't have missed it for the world.
No, neither would I.
It was fun.
And also, I mean, they used to come in for a close-up if you went wrong. I remember them. I remember them giving me this small tray, and I said, "Well, I can't do this with this tray because I went in because we were rehearsing out of the studio, so we used papers or anything that came to hand for props." Anyway, so it came to this thing where I remember I had 2 lines, and I said, you can either have a steak or there's duck or whatever. And I had to clear this whole table within seconds. So they gave me this tiny little tray. I said, well, there's no way that I can do that. Anyway, on the take, I went out, and there was this tray where I couldn't get through the door with the tray because it was so big. So I came through the door, I took a chunk out of the scenery, it rebounded off me, I could see Ronnie and Alan Gifford going like this at the table because they could hear it all going on. But they came in for a close-up. And I kept on going like this because something was falling on me. And it was the worst performance I've ever given, I think.
Do you remember the actor that was pouring the wine? His
Yes.
eyes were a bit rough. And somehow, in rehearsals, the wine glasses was always the right way up. And in the take, they put the glasses upside down. And because his eyesight was so bad, he started pouring the wine.
I don't remember that.
No, I don't.
Oh,
It didn't really happen. I thought it was a nice story.
oh.
Yeah, it was, and that scene when we came to dinner at your place and you sat on that settee and completely disappeared
that was
out of view.
hysterical.
We're fools. Actors drop hot cups of coffee in their lap and we go on.
Yes.
Well, the problem is you never knew. If the camera had seen Sue vanish off the sofa, we'd have all got up and said, oh, helped up. And we're all thinking, have they seen her disappear?
Well,
Because
I mean,
if we start referring to it, it's the same
I've
with
delicately
doors.
s-
Yes.
When you're having a secret conversation, the door swung open behind you.
I think
and
you should
look up and
explain
think,
it was a slippy dress
now
on a
have they
slippy
seen
sofa.
it?
That's right, because I was delicately sort of poised on the arm of this vinyl-covered chair. And because I had a silk dress on, because it was vinyl, I just slipped off it.
Very gracefully.
Slipped off. And then I thought, well, do I get up or do I sit on the floor? So I sat on the floor and everybody was just beginning to laugh. And then eventually, Noel Gordon looked down and she said, well, you're not going to play the scene from there, are you?